tournament here on a Global Speedrun Association. Today we have LilAggy versus Orolme in the losers round 5, and I am co-commentating with Kerbis. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Ready for this hot top 8 match of the Odyssey tournament. Should be a great one.
So, how do you think this race is going to go, Kerbis?
Well, I think we're at that point in the tournament where it's getting really hard to say. Like, it's not like the early rounds where there's a clear favorite in any given race. Especially in this case, like these two guys' PBs are only 2 seconds apart. That's pretty much about as close as you can get. So it's truly anyone's match today. Should be a close one. I expect it to be close throughout the entire race.
Yeah, for sure. And we see Aggie practicing Nutclip here in Wooded, probably the scariest kingdom for the entire race.
Yeah, I would say if anything is going to go wrong for one of these runners, it would be something like Nutclip. That could be the one sort of thing that I could see giving one runner a pretty big, relatively big lead in this race, is if one of them fails Nutclip or something along those lines. Those 30-second losses, 20 to 30-second losses, that could be the thing that swings it. But outside of that, I expect them to play super close the whole way through.
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely going to be a very good and intense race here.
Definitely. And I will reemphasize that this is the loser's bracket, so whoever loses this race today will be knocked out of the tournament entirely, and the winner will move on to losers quarterfinals.
Yeah, this tournament is definitely getting almost complete here. All these races are getting more and more intense. More and more is on the line every single race.
Yeah, I mean, as we saw, the inexplicable happening the other day where we even had a race tied to the exact frame and had to replay it. So obviously an extreme case there, but that kind of can tell you how close the races are starting to become as we get to the late final rounds of this tournament. And I think that's part of what makes Odyssey such a great speed game. It is not too short, but short enough that these kind of things can happen. It makes for some really exciting finishes at the top level.
Yeah, for sure. Because wasn't like Curbs a minute behind there, and he like still managed to catch up and tie to the frame. Like that just shows that even if you're a full minute behind, the race is still not over.
Yeah, like it's not
Yeah.
so set in stone that there isn't a comeback factor. But yeah, we're going to be underway here, and we'll see. Starting off Cap Kingdom, we'll see who can get through this with the cleanest start. I feel like Cap Kingdom's really just a mental.
Oh no,
Oh my
Orolme
goodness.
taking a death. That is not what you want to see.
I was just about to say, I
Yeah.
feel like Cap Kingdom can really set the tone for your run.
Oh,
Hopefully that's not the case for Orolme there, as he's going to take a
yeah.
death at pretty much the first possible point that you can die in this game.
And I can
But
say, yeah, I can say from experience that happens way more times to me than it should have. It looks like that should be really easy, but taking a death there can be so easy. Like it's not
yeah,
even funny.
just trying to cut that corner a little too closely and
Yeah.
wind up plummeting to your death. But like we kind of just said, that's not going to be the thing that determines this race. There are definitely more places that will lose you a lot more time. So definitely not the way you want to start out your run, but also not the end of the world. And we'll see
Yeah.
Aggie executes a clean left side to get to the top and the topper fight. So we'll see how well he can maintain his gift of a lead right now. And Orolme making up there just as cleanly. So
And
I'm actually kind of curious what kind of cap time this will be for Orolme with a death.
Yeah, this is definitely not something you would typically see at the top level, but a race is a race. Like it, more times than not, this is like you would never see it this time this cap time for a top level runner.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much any time you like anytime you die there, and pretty much no matter what level runner you are, you're just gonna reset because nobody wants to die within the first 10 seconds of the run. So you never see like what kind of cap times you finish with, but you know, it actually wasn't too bad for Orolme in the 2:30s.
I mean, yeah, considering he got a death, it looks like he's about I think like 14 seconds behind Aggie or so.
Yeah, and that's nothing. You know, that's not going to ruin the run for him. He can make up a 15-second deficit
Yeah,
for sure.
it just sucks that he has to play comeback from the first kingdom.
Yeah, exactly. So that it's the kind of mistake that you just can't let it wreck your mentality for the rest of the race. It's not going to ruin your run, but it's going to be a little frustrating if you don't keep a good mentality about it. But he seems to be, you know, picking himself up pretty well so far. It doesn't seem like that mistake has bothered him too much. Playing cleanly ever since.
Yeah, he's definitely making up little bits of time here and there. And before you know it, he could easily be back in the lead.
Yes, like Sand Kingdom is one of the tougher kingdoms, and it's right near the beginning of the run. So I always call it like that's when the run really starts. Like Cap and Cascade, nothing too crazy usually happens. Like that death you just saw is pretty much as crazy as it gets as far as lead changes in Cap and Cascade. So Sand is where the true fun begins. That's where the hard stuff starts.
Yeah, especially since we have Sphinx Clip and Dramstrat both in Sand. So if let's say like Agam even just messes up one of those, that could definitely put Orolme back in the lead.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, one Sphinx Clip going wrong can completely swing the lead back to a tie, essentially. So we'll see as they are both getting set to finish up Cascade Kingdom and head to Sand. We'll see how they handle it. Aggie gonna go for this moon clip through the ceiling here.
Oh, Orolme taking a bonk. Very unfortunate. And Orolme going to be setting up for the chest clip as well right here. Hopefully he can get it as well. That looks good to me. It looks like he did clip there. Yep, just like that. Moving on to the Sand Kingdom.
Yeah, so pretty clean for Maggie this far. Orolme not far behind.
And Orolme leaving the Cascade Kingdom right now. Same with Aggie, and they're both going to be moving on to the Sand Kingdom. I think while we have some downtime here, I might as well shout out our sponsor for all the tournaments here on GSA, Vi.gg. Use !bet in the chat for more information about them, and make sure you are of legal betting age in whatever country you're living in. And Aggie starting up the Sand Kingdom right now. Same with Orolme here in just a second.
Yeah, just a short cutscene separating the two runners.
And Aggie going to be moving on to the Hill Moon here, while Orolme, sorry, is going to be moving into the Pipe Moon here. That was very fast from Orolme. The spin time was crazy. Now Aggie going to be setting up for Dramstrat here. If he misses this trick, this could definitely put Orolme back in the lead for sure. Or at least make the race a lot closer.
Yeah, it would definitely close the gap quite a bit. I think messing up Dramstrat is probably somewhere closer to a 5-second to 10-second loss, depending on how cleanly you back it up, or how you mess it up as well. but I think that's going to be good for Aggie. Yes, he does get it cleanly. So fly straight over to the pillar here. Very nicely done. Yeah, it looks like Orolme just kind of messed up the initial setup there, so he's just going to do it the old-fashioned way.
Okay, and Aggie is going to be approaching the luggage moon here, and they're going to be setting up for a Sphinx clip. This is another spot in the Sand Kingdom where the race could become a lot closer.
So yeah, the way Orolme messed up the Dram strat there, like, essentially didn't even attempt it. Really didn't lose him all that much time. If he would have accidentally captured Bull Bill Aggie with a nice second try clip, I believe there, very nicely done. But with Orolme, if he would have accidentally captured the Bull Bill early without collecting the Alcove Moon, that would have lost him a lot more time than just not attempting the strat at all. So really not a big deal for him there. It'll put him a few more seconds behind, but nothing too crazy. And he gets, a first try clip. I'm not sure if he intended to go into the treasure room here. But we'll see if he sets up for a double clip when he leaves.
Well, I mean, like, I think he's forced to now since he got that clip.
Yeah.
Okay, getting the second clip, second try here, there shouldn't be an issue with the bird cycle at the end at all.
Yeah, so I believe that actually wound up being, at worst, equally as fast as what Aggie did. Because double clip, I know, is optimally faster, but I'm not sure how a second try... But, well, the first clip was first try, so I believe that's actually faster than what Aggie was able to do, so Orolme making up a small chunk of time there.
Yeah, and he didn't bonk on the attempt either, so he probably lost literally almost nothing to getting that second try.
Right. Yeah, so we'll see. I wouldn't imagine the bird cycle would be a problem. So they both should be able to finish off the kingdom pretty cleanly here. Yeah, it looks like a pretty good sand from both of them, other than the one messed up Dram. So we'll probably see Aggie with a slightly bigger lead than what he came into this kingdom with, assuming these notes go well for him.
Ooh, a little bit of messy notes there.
Yeah, notes, that's a very tricky move to do optimally. Just the combination of the hitbox of grabbing the notes and having to stand on these palm tree leaves. A lot of little things can go wrong, so it's very easy to mess up and not have a perfectly clean notes moon. Looked like Orolme actually had a pretty decent one.
Yeah, definitely making up some time on Aggie there.
So yeah, pretty similar lead to what we came into this kingdom with. Overall, pretty good sand kingdoms from both of them. So the first really difficult point in the run not proving to be much of an issue for either runner.
Yeah, and then we're going to be moving on to the Lake Kingdom. This kingdom is pretty basic if you choose to do the regular route. There's nothing too much can go wrong here other than maybe like a messed up Rango fight, I would assume.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if either of these runners tend to go for the lake clip.
I don't think either of them do.
Yeah, that's about the only notable thing that we could potentially see happen in this kingdom. But yeah, I don't expect to see either of them go for it, but perhaps one of them will surprise us.
Aggie grabbing the first moon here. And they're going to be moving on to the zipper moon. We'll have to see. This is when we'll be able to see if Aggie decides to go for a late clip. I really doubt it, but maybe he'll surprise us. Yeah, no, opting not to go for it and just taking the basic route. Opting to fight Rango instead. Let's see if Orolme chooses to go for a late clip here. Probably not, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, late clip is one of those things. Yeah, he's not going to go for it either. It's one of those things that actually can shift Lake Kingdom from being one of the easiest kingdoms in the run to one of the most difficult. It's that hard of a trick compared to other things you might see in this run.
Yeah, for sure. Very few people actually go for it right now. It's really only used on like the very, very top level, maybe like the top 10 runners, and that's about it.
Yeah, and like these guys are both top 15 on the Legacy 80% leaderboard. So to see that neither of them will go for it, can kind of tell you how difficult or how risky it can be.
But Aggie getting a really nice Ringo fight there. Let's see if Orolme can do the same here. I don't imagine that he'll have too many issues on this boss. Yeah, finishing out Rango very clean there.
Yeah, so pretty much as expected. Textbook Lake Kingdoms from both these guys.
And then both runners are going to be moving on to the Wooded Kingdom. The complete opposite of this, a very scary kingdom where a lot can go wrong.
Yeah, not only for the Nut Clip, but Wooded Kingdom overall just has some of the trickiest movement in the entire run, I would say.
Yeah, even if you go for like the most basic strats, like if you don't even go for fast pipes and you don't even go for a Nut Clip, the movement in itself is just crazy difficult.
Yeah, so it seems the difference to this point in the run still is just that death right at the start from Orolme. So, unfortunate that is kind of the one thing separating these two, but on the same, token, Orolme playing pretty well ever since then. He hasn't let it get to his head, thankfully. So we've still got a pretty tight race here. And as we said, Wooded Kingdom, always one to shift the balances in any given race. So we'll see how Nut Clip treats the two of them.
We've definitely seen a lot of lead changes in this kingdom right here, like significant lead changes, upwards of like one runner being behind and then coming back by and getting like a 30-second lead or so.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the kingdoms where a 30-second shift is not out of the question, not too crazy or wild to happen. So yeah, we'll see Aggie coming up on Nut Clip first here.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he doesn't get the clip at all. That's he'll definitely have to change up his route there.
Struggling a little bit just to climb up the nut here.
We'll have to see. That looks good.
Yeah, that looks good to me. The quick wee-hoo will go through the wall, but in my opinion, the clip is actually not even the hardest part of this whole process.
Yeah, for sure. It's the added bound section, for sure.
Yeah, it's this part right here where you have to collect the moon and make it up to the top, but Aggie does it nicely, so pretty clean. He's past the hard stuff.
Orolme clipping out of bounds right here. Let's see if we can do it just as well.
So you see Orolme kind of tilt his camera up to face the ground. You see some people do that because they use like a visual cue on the rock wall to know when to hold back to collect the moon without popping back in bounds.
Orolme popping off right now, not even needing a wall jump to get up that ramp there.
Yeah, very spicy. So yeah, pretty good Wooded Kingdom so far from both of them. It's always nice to see. Orolme, I would say definitely has made up a little bit of time here because Aggie fumbled the movement a little bit getting to the point where he got in position for the clip. And then the movement after was a bit slower. So yeah, Orolme I think making up a little bit of time here thus far in Wooded Kingdom. See if he can continue that trend and just kind of slowly claw his way back.
And Aggie going to be setting up for the Flower Road skip here. We'll have to see if he's able to pull it off very clean here.
Yeah, I remember the days of Flower Road skip being like the most difficult thing you would do in Wooded Kingdom, and now it's like it's such an afterthought compared to the whole Nut Clip scenario.
Ooh, okay, Aggie not getting on the platform. They're struggling a bunch with getting on that platform there. Looked like he missed the dive the first time, and then his input just got completely eaten the second time.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate that this game can do that quite often.
Yeah, oftentimes when you just like throw your cap if your cap like hits into something at the same time as you're trying to dive, it'll just eat the input for whatever reason. Something that we've kind of grown used to, but can still trip you up every now and then if it happens in a place that you aren't expecting.
Orolme definitely catching up on Aggie here. And I think Aggie is going to be going for the spirit skip here right now. Yeah, it does look like it. Ooh, taking a bonk there before getting the roll off the platform.
Yeah, so really just...
Oh my god, that was so close. That's unreal.
Aggie was incredibly close to falling off the ledge there, which would have actually sent him to the deep woods, which is about the worst possible thing that could happen in Wooded Kingdom. Actually, one of the worst mistakes you can make in the run in general. Much worse than a failed nut clip is a trip to the deep woods, as you're not able to warp out of there. You gotta plant a seed, wait for a vine to grow, climb out, and then work your way back to where you fell. So thankfully, that not happening for Aggie, but definitely just kind of losing time in the form of, you know, little half-second chips.
Yeah, it was crazy. Aggie's reaction time there was very, very quick, but Aggie messing up fast bites here at the very end.
He kind of got the half cycle. He was able to damage boost through and get up to the top without having to wait for the water to rise all the way completely to the top. So not worst case scenario, but we'll see if Orolme can get the clean fast cycle and make up a little bit more time yet. It looks like he will. So yeah, definitely Orolme making up some good time in Wooded Kingdom there. He's still going to leave with a slight deficit here.
But he's definitely not behind by too much at all anymore after this Wooded.
Yeah. It's still probably somewhere between 10 and 15 seconds still.
But both runners moving on to the Cloud Kingdom now. This game isn't too exciting, just a pretty basic Bowser boss fight here, but who knows, we could see some mistakes from both runners. But hopefully not.
Yeah, this fight is something that I expect to go pretty much perfectly for runners every single time, unless they go for some unnecessarily fancy movement at the beginning.
Okay, I did not think Aggie was going to make that first cycle there, but it looks like he did. I don't know if that dive at the beginning was intentional or not, but something as simple as just not doing the dive properly. Like, as you can see here, Orolme just doing some rolls. If you mess up whatever movement you choose to go for this first cycle here at all, you're going to be missing it. That first cycle for this boss is very tight and very strict.
Yeah, there's definitely some leniency to it, but you don't want to play with it, really. You could very easily miss it.
Orolme messing up one of the second phase of the boss here and having to back it up a little bit awkwardly here.
Yeah, a smart play for him, kind of standing further back from Bowser, because if you're too close and you try to hit the hat, it will just bounce right back into Bowser's hands and you'll wind up wasting even more time. So kind of standing back a little further and just making sure that the hat would get knocked out in a place that he can still grab it. So yeah, unfortunately, Orolme, I think that's generally about a 10-second time loss when that happens. So he's going to fall back into that 20-second or so deficit range. But we've got Lost Kingdom here, which is another kind of scary one where a lot of bad things can happen, so we will see.
Yeah, this is definitely another scary kingdom, especially for races. Because just like you see there, okay, Aggie, what moon is Aggie going to get now? I'm very curious. Something as simple as that.
You will probably get the Stone Cage moon.
Yeah.
It's one that's very... It's almost fast enough to be in the any percent route, but the fact that he essentially spawned the bird moon and spent all the time required that normally to get that moon, but then wasn't able to grab it, means that he's really missing out on a lot of time. So that's going to be pretty punishing. I don't think Orolme can make up his entire deficit from this mistake, but he can come very close.
Yeah, I'm surprised Aggie did not die there. It was very smart thinking for him just to skip the moon entirely, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. On his toes. knowing how to back that situation up. He could have very easily died if he wasn't paying close enough attention. So yeah, you see he's going to send this flying to the cage and just ground pound through and grab this moon as his backup.
Okay, very smart backup there. I don't know if that's ever happened to him before, so it's definitely smart thinking to just get this moon instead.
Yeah, that kind of movement is something you might see in a longer category like Darker Side, where you want to collect both of those moons on the same visit. So I think perhaps that kind of knowledge helping Aggie out.
Oh yeah, I know Aggie does run Darker, so that could have been where he thought to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Even if you have that knowledge in the back of your head, it can be hard to utilize it in the heat of the moment. So nice job from Aggie there with a pretty clean backup. He's still going to maintain his lead.
No.
And Orolme's going to die there. That's not a big deal. It's going to lose him a few seconds.
Yeah, it loses him extra time because he attempted to go for it and then died. If you choose just to death warp intentionally, like if you choose to do the intentional death warp, that loses not much time at all. But if you choose to attempt to go for it and then fail it, that loses a lot more.
Yeah, I think it's only a second or two if you intentionally death warp to get back to the Odyssey. But with, yeah, like you said, with him attempting to climb back up and bonking, that's probably closer to like a 5-second loss. So not making up as much time as he could have otherwise made up there with Aggie's mistake of missing a moon. But it's still close. And we're coming up on another one of those kind of nut clip-esque choke points in the run. If someone gets a 3-cycle Wiggler, that's going to be roughly a 20-second loss.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully we don't see that today, although I doubt we will see a 3-cycle with the level that both these runs are at, but it could happen.
Yeah, it's not something you see too often at a high level, but, you know, Wiggler, the pattern can just be super trolly sometimes, and even if you're really used to it and skilled at the game, it can still trip you up every now and then. If you're not, if you're not on guard, paying close attention to its movement.
Yeah, for sure. And Aggie climbing the tower here, getting the top, and gonna be grabbing this chest moon before going for a really risky long jump across the entire tower to make it to the other side here. And Aggie getting it and making it look easy.
Yeah, this whole section, this whole Night Metro section is like a part of the run that's really devastating to new runners, but once you get to this level of play, you almost never see any deaths here.
Yeah, for sure. And Aggie starting up the Mecha Wiggler boss fight. Hopefully he's able to complete this boss fight in 2 cycles here and not have to suffer going to the 3rd cycle.
Orolme coming in close behind.
And Aggie having to wait out this part of the boss. We can't really speed this part up too much at all. You can make him go into the closest wall, and that's how you speed up this part, but the Wiggler just has to run around for a bit here before going into the 2nd cycle. Okay, Aggie starting up the 2nd cycle of this boss here. Let's see if he's able to kill the Mecha Wiggler here. This looks to be like a really good pattern.
Yeah, super favorable pattern. There's no coiling, and Aggie just rips it to shreds. Easy peasy, no problem. That was actually not only a 2-cycle, but a very fast 2-cycle. Oftentimes, the Wiggler will wind up stopping in place before you can wind up getting all your shots off, but Aggie just able to take him out immediately there. It looks like Orolme is going to have a almost equally fast 2-cycle. So both getting pretty favorable patterns there and using them to their advantage to walk away from this fight cleanly.
Yeah, for sure. Both runners are going to be moving on to the Day Metro portion now. Aggie going to be setting up for a capture warp here right at the beginning. Going to be grabbing the moon in the girder here, and then going to be warping it to this electric wire immediately after. But more importantly now, where you're going to be watching Aggie go for a scoot clip here. This could definitely lose a lot of time if he doesn't pull it off clean right here at the beginning. And just like that, Aggie getting the drive-by. Definitely what you want to see.
Flawless.
Let's see if Orolme can do the same thing here.
Aggie just missing his first ground pound on that trash pile moon. But nothing too crazy. Got kind of a weird misdirection on the pole fling. So
No. Orolme messing up the scooter clip here. Having to do a little bit of an awkward backup. But making it work.
yeah, and since the scooter was kind of facing a different direction, I think that was a smart decision for him to just hop off and walk his way over to the next part rather than trying to turn the scooter around. Would have taken him more time anyway.
And Aggie going for the early musicians route here, where you grab the musicians first, and then going to be warping to the top of the skyscraper afterwards.
Yeah, as long as you can make it out of this girder cleanly, this movement winds up being faster than doing musicians last. Taxi almost getting in Orolme's way, but he makes it out pretty cleanly. Also going for the early musicians.
Yep, and Aggie finishing up the early musicians part of the route here. And he's going to be warping the top of the skyscraper. Okay, Orolme finishing up the early musicians as well. If this one can definitely still change if Aggie makes some sort of mistake here on this second half of the route. We'll have to see. Okay, getting the blind dive onto this moon here, that's definitely one of the more scary parts of this route. Because if you mess that up, you're going to have to climb the skyscraper all over again. Ooh, taking a bonk on this skyscraper climb here up to the very top to grab the moon.
Just going to use our tall vantage point to work our way down back to the ground, collecting moons on the way. Aggie's going to pop into the crowded street, grab his last 2 moons of this kingdom, still maintaining his lead. For the most part, there have been little fluctuations by like 5 to 10 seconds, but Aggie has more or less maintained his lead that he gained from the death at the beginning this whole way, so really playing to win here.
Yeah, this is not a bad run by any means for Aggie so far. And Aggie going to be leaving the Metro Kingdom now, while Orolme is finishing up the People's Room.
So yeah, he's been just like a moon or 2 behind Aggie this whole time. We're starting to get into the point though where there's going to be some pretty difficult kingdoms coming up. Snow Kingdom I feel like Snow Kingdom is almost a sleeper pick for kingdoms that can really ruin a run. There's obviously the painting jump at the end, but even that aside, I feel like Snow Kingdom, there's a lot of little stuff that can go wrong that people don't really think about.
Yeah, for sure. Like, every single one of the little rooms you go into inside of Severia, there's like a lot of risk with that, where if you mess up anything in there, you could lose a lot of time.
Yeah, it's very easy to die in both of those rooms if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, and if you, like, in the Goomba room, if, like, the Goombas don't cooperate, you have to restart that room entirely.
Yeah, there's actually a thing that can happen where Goomba can kind of suicide off the cliff, and it's kind of random as far as we can tell. It doesn't happen too often, but yeah, if one of those Goombas, you actually need all of the Goombas in that room to obtain one of the moons. So if one of them happens to jump off the cliff voluntarily, then you just have to either take a death yourself or exit and re-enter the room to get the Goomba to respawn.
Yeah, but for now, we're going to be seeing if Aggie chooses to go for a Snow Jam here, if he chooses to do the shot an hour later. And it looks like he is choosing to go for a Snow Jam because he did not go for the shot right now.
Yeah, I would expect both of these guys to go for it.
Yeah, for sure.
When you're, especially when you know you're racing someone who's very much your equal in skill, with these guys only having PBs 2 seconds apart, you kind of want to pull out all the stops, do everything that you're even moderately comfortable with to gain as much time as possible on your opponent.
So let's see if Aggie is able to get the triple jump here on the stair, getting it, making that look easy and clean. Now let's see if Orolme is able to do the same and get the triple jump off the stair here and make the cycle. Okay, just like that, making it look clean. Nice blowy Joe room here from both runners.
Yeah, Orolme actually getting a little bit too much momentum there and almost overshooting the platform he needed ground pound on. But yeah, otherwise super clean from the two of them so far. Showing the Snow Kingdom who's boss, but Aggie's going to take a bonk in this hallway. I feel like it just always happens. It always seems to happen. That hallway is not very forgiving.
Yeah, just by rolling in there, you can get sent in all kinds of different directions, even if you're not trying to. But Aggie getting all 4 Goombas, hitting that button, and grabbing the Goomba Moon here. And going for the roll cancel triple jump over the void here. And getting it and fishing off this room. And then going to be going for the shot moon. And then a Snow Jam. Okay, Aggie buying the shot moon now. Then he will be warping to the Odyssey and setting up for Snow Jam.
Yeah, this will be the kind of thing where one failed Snow Jam will probably not shift the lead, but would make it very close.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Aggie setting up for the trick. Getting the cat vault. Getting the cat bounce. Getting the rainbow spin. And, ooh, bonking right there. No.
Just barely missed there, so he's going to have to warp back up and try again. There's really no other option here at this point. There's no other fast moon that he could go get.
Look at that. Both runners being synced going into Snow Jam. This is crazy intense. It is do or die right here. Both runners having to get the trick right now. Oh. I can't tell. Okay, Orolme getting it. And Aggie bonking again.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt. Aggie maintaining his lead this whole race, and one trick is gonna, just like that, flip it from, a 15-second lead in his favor to a 15-second or so deficit, assuming he can get this. Yeah, this really tripping up Aggie right now.
This trick is just so precise, so even if you're bonking again, even if you're really good at this trick, it can give you trouble sometimes, just because of how crazy precise it is.
If your timing's ever so slightly off, and it's not just one thing you have to time, it's like a quick succession of 4 or 5 things that all have to be pretty precisely done. The angle you hold, the timing of your cap throw, the timing of the rainbow spin, all these things have to line up perfectly, but Aggie finally does successfully do it. So really unfortunate there. Just sort of the one thing in this run that has tripped him up, but it was, a pretty bad one. He's going to lose quite a bit of time to that. So he's now going to be the one playing catch up for the foreseeable future of this run. As Orolme has already, worked his way to collecting the first 2 moons of Seaside Kingdom, as Aggie is going to make his way there. Orolme messing up that, not getting quite enough height on that jump to make it up that platform, but not too big of a deal.
Yep, and Aggie about to land in the Seaside Kingdom. The tides have definitely turned here. Tables have definitely turned.
Yeah, so showing you there, Orolme just playing super solid after his initial blunder, swinging the tides back in his favor, and it is now his race to lose, essentially. Looks like Aggie maybe just a little flustered from the Snow Kingdom. Just gonna have a little bit of trouble working his way up to that moon.
Orolme capturing the fish and starting up the fish section here. There's nothing too much to say about this part. Just gotta swim around with the fish and grab some nearby moons to finish off the kingdom.
Yeah, nothing too crazy going on in the back half of Seaside Kingdom, really. It's one of the more consistent parts of the run, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. As long as you just know how to swim with the fish fast, then you're fine.
Yeah, if anything crazy is going to happen to Orolme to make him lose his lead, it will likely be in either Luncheon or Bowser's Kingdom. So I expect him to have finished out Seaside cleanly and just work his way over to Luncheon. Aggie, I believe, got the Rocket Flower refresh.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, so that's going to allow him to skip capturing the Gushin a little faster than what Orolme had to do to get over to this cheap.
Yeah, so making up a little bit of time on Orolme there, but Orolme still definitely has a huge lead right now. Moving into the Luncheon Kingdom.
So yeah, Luncheon Kingdom, another place similar to Wooded Kingdom, where there's kind of a lot of chip damage you can take, losing little bits of time here and there. But the one difference being there's no major nut clip-like trick. So if Orolme can just play cleanly, he likely will not lose too much time to anything major. But Luncheon just has a way of punishing you that just sometimes doesn't seem like it should happen.
Orolme going for the triple jump here, climbing the wall and getting it first try. Very clean there. Oh no, Orolme taking a little bit of fire damage there. It looked like he wasn't able to bounce off Cappy. So losing a couple seconds there because of that. Having to deal with the health refill animation. And then diving back into the lava again.
Yeah, so he hit the one part of the wall where it's just like impossible to wall jump off of certain surfaces sometimes. That's what happened to him there. He tried to wall jump to get the extra height needed, get up top, but just kind of got stuffed out by the wall and forced him to take damage. And really tragic would be if he does not come out of this fight alive, but I imagine he will. Yeah.
Okay, Aggie setting up for the Salt Triple, climbing the wall, getting it first try. If Aggie is able to pull off this whole sequence here very clean, he'll make up a ton of time on Orolme because of that. So it's very important that he plays good here. Yeah, and just like that, just because Aggie played it clean, he probably made up a good maybe 5 or 10 seconds on Orolme, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely between the actual time of taking damage, bouncing through the lava, and the time it took to refill his health. A good little chunk of time that Aggie's able to make up there. So yes, just stuff like that is what you want to avoid in Luncheon.
Yeah, and then stuff like this too, where you're just not able to climb the wall first try. It looks like something minuscule, but even something like that loses like a second or two.
Yeah, these little time losses just tend to string together in Luncheon Kingdom. It's just a thing that sort of happens to everybody, so... Let's see, Orolme getting this nice triple jump, wall jump, hat throw, home in on the box as he dives directly into the moon.
Ooh, missing the turnip into the pot, and then struggling to put it in there second try.
Yeah, and actually trying to grab it, but instead just kind of bounced on top of the turnip. They can be a pain to handle at times.
And Aggie catching up on Orolme here. He's having a very clean luncheon so far. No mistake yet from him, it looks like. And as I say that, Commentators curse, he struggles on the straight moon a little bit.
So Orolme heading into the Forex room. This is a place where up throws have known to go wrong, cause bad things to happen.
Just like that.
Thankfully, that wasn't a bad thing in the form of a death, but still an annoying slight time loss, much in the theme of what happens in Lunch Kingdom.
Yeah, that's in the theme for Orolme's Luncheon Kingdom right now. He's just... Orolme not having like one really big mistake, but just these small things adding up very quickly for him. And it looks like Orolme is going to be setting up for turnip clip now, where you're going to want to take the turnip and put it in front of the cage for the moon here. Then you're going to grab a Pambro and put him in between the turnip and the cage, and then you can clip right into the cage. I would say this clip isn't too hard to pull off to get the clip itself, but doing this fast is definitely hard.
Yeah, it's more just setting everything up that's difficult. The actual clip itself is pretty fundamentally easily to do.
Yeah. But Orolme getting that very fast there.
Yeah, that whole sequence was pretty clean for him. Aggie following closely behind. He's going to toss his own turnip over that way. So yeah, Snow Kingdom really was not... It didn't kill this run for Aggie. It just kind of shifted the lead from, you know, whatever deficit it was before Snow Kingdom to a deficit the other way. So Aggie can still come back from this for sure. There's a lot that can happen.
Yeah, and I thought Orolme was going to die there after that mountain moon or whatever you want to call it. It looked like he was definitely going to bonk there and fall into the lava, but he managed to save it.
Yeah, those rock surfaces, they're actually really hard to bonk on. You usually will just kind of smack into it and slide down, which can still kill you depending on where you land, but those surfaces are kind of weird. Kind of weird in a good way, though, because, oh my goodness.
Oh no, that's exactly what I was talking about there. I thought it was going to right there.
Yeah,
but,
thankfully not a death, but definitely a bad time loss. I'm having to climb back up there. He won't have to worry about a damage refill as he is about to collect a multi-moon, and that refills your health. Oh, and a checkpoint as well. I even forgot about the checkpoint. That's the nice thing. Checkpoints will refill your health without any time loss of having the animation, like a moon grab will give you.
Yeah.
But yeah, multi-moons will just refill your health automatically without any extra animation anyway, so He was safe from that time loss, but still not great to fall into the lava there.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely very slow, losing him a lot of time. But both runners moving on to the Ruined Kingdom here. Not too much can go wrong here at all. Just a basic dragon fight. As long as both of the runners play a little bit safe and just focus on killing the dragon, I don't see anything happening here.
Yeah, nothing too wild. I guess while there is a slight break in the intense action, we will remind you of our sponsor, Via.gg, allowing you to place bets on any of the matches in the SM64, SMO, and Super Metroid tournaments that are ongoing right now. Click on the banner below the stream or type !bet in chat to learn more about that.
Yeah, and make sure you are of legal betting age in whatever country you're living in. But Orolme hitting the dragon for the first time there, finishing up the first cycle, while Aggie is just now starting up the kingdom. And it looks like Orolme is going to be going for the second damage boost here, where we jump onto the dragon's head a little bit early, just so we're closer to the swords we have to pick out once his invulnerability phase ends.
I've always thought that this fight was very nicely placed for the speedrun because it happens to be sandwiched between Luncheon and Bowser's, which are probably two of the more difficult execution-heavy kingdoms in the 80% run. So it's kind of nice to have a little break in between them so that you're not doing those kingdoms back to back.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like Orolme is killing the dragon there, while Aggie is starting up the second phase, I think. It might be the last one, though. I wasn't paying too close attention.
Yeah, it's the second phase. You can tell by how many pins he has to pull out the dragon's head.
That's what I thought.
So yeah, it's gonna take a pretty bad mistake from Orolme on either Bowser's or Moon Kingdom to give Aggie a chance to swing this back in his favor, but that is something that's definitely not out of the question. The amount of times we've seen either a death or a tumble off the top of the Robo Brood, Bowser's Kingdom, pretty frequent stuff. It's even difficult at a high level, so
yeah,
what happens.
Speaking of falling off the mech, that's what happened to Aggie in his last race. He actually fell off the mech on 3 different phases, I believe, so hopefully that doesn't happen to him today, though.
Yeah, if Aggie manages to fall off, that would more than likely seal his fate in this race, so he's going to have to play really well the rest of this run and hope the cards fall in his favor. Going to need a little help from his opponent to come back in this one. Meanwhile, Orolme is going to start his ascent in Bowser's Kingdom and going to elect to go for... Oh, that's some spicy movement right there. That's something I don't see people go for. Yeah, he's going to elect to go for the box moon later as opposed to behind the big wall.
Yeah, I think the only notable runner that goes for that Pokéodram there is Equan. And Orolme moving on to the Shards Moon now. This moon being very difficult and very movement intensive. You can lose lots of little bits of time in this shard section if you don't do the movement correct. And it looks like Aggie is about to kill the ogre here before moving on to shards.
like you said, I think the shards is kind of the sleeper section of Bowser's Kingdom, where there's a lot of difficult stuff going on here, but this is the one like less obvious difficult thing. Like it's much more difficult to pull off optimally than it looks, as opposed to the Robo Brood, which is actually probably a bit easier to pull off than it looks. Yeah, a tough kingdom all around, either way.
And it looks like Orolme is going to be moving on to the brutal fights here. You're going to have to fight Harriet and then Topper before moving on to the climb and then the Mecha Brutal fight. Looks like Orolme is opting for Harriet first. And we'll have to... we'll see Aggie moving on to the boss as well. Orolme taking a little bit of damage there before hitting Harriet. Very unfortunate.
Yep, that being his punishment for choosing Harriet first, which we all know is not the proper option.
It looks like Aggie is opting for Harriet first as well. And Orolme opting to get that checkpoint to refill his health before moving on to Topper, because I believe that's faster than seeing through the health refill animation.
Yeah, for sure. You only have to go slightly out of your way to snag that checkpoint, as opposed to sitting through a roughly 2.5 second long animation to refill the health. So definitely the smart play there.
And Orolme finishing off that Topper fight very cleanly there. Looks like there is one boss fight separating Aggie from Orolme. Okay, let's see if Aggie can have a clean Topper fight as well. Okay, Aggie killing Topper there without much trouble, and it looks like Orolme is going to be setting up for the Great Moon here. Let's see if he's able to get this without dying. Ooh, okay, that was a little bit rough there, but he managed to bring that back. That was kind of close. Now Orolme is going to have to do a jump across the void here. Without the camera cooperating at all, there's really nothing much you can do about that camera. That's just another blind jump that you gotta deal with and hope that you make. And Aggie getting that Great Moon very clean as well. Orolme moving on to the Mecha Brutal fight now. This is like the biggest spot where you can lose a ton of time very easily if you don't do this boss fight right.
Yeah, and I believe he can actually afford to even fall off one time on this fight and still maintain a lead at the end of the kingdom here. So if he knows the situation, he's probably not feeling too pressured, which is definitely the thing that could mess you up on this fight if you are nervous. Don't have your mentality together, but we will see how Orolme is able to work his way through this fight. Meanwhile, Aggie is following, starting the fight for himself. He needs to have a clean one, for sure, in order to give himself a chance in this race still.
And it looks like Orolme is going to be setting up for target acquired and failing it there. Oh no, that's not very good at all.
And Aggie also falling off as he's trying to get the first hit. He overshot a little bit and bonked.
No.
Once you kind of lose your initial positioning, it can be hard to recover and set up the beginning of the fight cleanly, so Aggie actually falling off the leg again, but finally gets the first hit as Orolme barely makes it back up top to get the last hit. So Aggie actually had an opening there to potentially make up some time, but wasn't really able to do it, having some blunders of his own, unfortunately.
Yeah, that just goes to show how difficult this boss really is. It's very easy to make some sort of mistake somewhere on this boss, and then fall off and lose like upwards of a minute at least. But yeah, Orolme moving out of the Bowser Kingdom and onto the Moon Kingdom while Aggie is grabbing this multi-moon here.
Yeah, it looks like Orolme is going to walk away from Bowser's Kingdom with roughly a 35-second or so lead on Aggie, so still within reach for Aggie, potentially. There are a couple pretty bad things that can happen in Moon Kingdom, but Orolme plays it safe. He should be able to walk away from this cleanly with a win. But again, we don't know if he's aware of his lead or not, so he could very reasonably wind up going all out in Moon Kingdom and making a mistake, plummeting to his death somewhere, missing a cycle in the Bowser fight, and any number of things can happen still.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's definitely like a missed 2D skip could put Aggie back in the lead.
For sure. That's would probably be the biggest thing. Either that or dying after Moon Cave skip. Those would be the two big things.
Okay, Orolme gonna be setting up for Moon Cave skip right now. This trick not being too difficult for many runners, but we'll have to see what he's able to do here.
Definitely trips people up every now and then. But yeah, it looks like Orolme gonna get it cleanly. It's definitely the jump afterwards, just sometimes you miss your cap bounce there. That seems to be the more punishing thing for a top level runner. But yeah, Orolme having a pretty clean skip overall, gonna head into the Bowser fight as Aggie approaches his own attempt. Kind of going a little bit more out of his way than he normally would need to for that second Rocket Flower, but still worth it. He's able to run with the Rocket Flower all the way up to the Sphinx. Execute the skip. Orolme gets his first punches in on Bowser.
And Orolme having to wait out this fire phase of the fight. There's nothing really can speed this part up. Just gotta jump over the fire and that's about it. And Aggie gonna be starting up the Bowser fight as well. Oh no, Orolme messing up that second phase of the Bowser fight. Wasn't able to turn around to do the backflip.
Yeah, and he messed up both Bowser fights in this run, so definitely just like his timing off for that strat for whatever reason today.
Yeah, that's giving Aggie some time to catch up for sure.
Yeah, that missed phase alone won't be enough for Aggie to catch entirely back up, but brings him a bit closer. Honestly, the kind of mistake that really doesn't mean anything necessarily, because at this point, if it's not enough to catch you up entirely, nothing else that will happen in this run will really like no mistake that Orolme can make at this point would really change anything, more so than it would if he hadn't messed up the Bowser phase.
Yeah, and Aggie messing up that second phase as well. So he really didn't get any of the time he could have made up there. And just broke even. But Orolme just now starting up the escape sequence here. This is definitely a place where if you die anywhere here, this would definitely change the lead for sure.
Yeah, so it's basically going to take a death from Orolme for Aggie to catch back up. Otherwise, this is really his race to lose. Not much else that can happen, and he executes the clean 2D skip. So it's looking like, as of now, that Orolme is probably going to walk away from this with a win and advance in the bracket, but we will see how Pillar Room treats him.
Yeah, I don't see anything happening to him. This looks like Orolme has the win in the bag.
Yeah, like, he could certainly have a slow Pillar Room, but at this point, that's not going to matter. He would literally have to fall in the hole and die for this to swing back in Aggie's favor. Nothing really else can happen at this point.
Yeah, for sure. Ooh, Aggie almost dying though. That was actually really close. I'm surprised he survived there. It looks like Orolme is going to be finishing up in this Pillar Room here. Looks like he will be getting around a 104.20 something. Yeah, probably like a high 104.20 is what it looks like. Yeah, it looks like he got a 104.28. Not too bad at all. Not a bad run from him at all.
Yeah, so definitely with about 2 minutes off of PB for him, I believe. Both these runners kind of had one or two rather big mistakes in this run. But outside of that, they played relatively cleanly. Oh my god, Aggie almost died.
Yeah, he nearly died there. But Aggie finishing up this run with a very low 105, like a 105.08 maybe. Yeah, a 105.09 it looked like. It looks like we have Orolme in the call right now for this interview. How are you feeling about your run, Orolme?
Yeah, it was perfect. Perfect cap for me. And I don't remember. Perfect mech. And yeah, the rest was okay for me. And they just said that LilAggy missed a lot Snowdram, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really the deciding factor in this race.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, but yeah, Aggie is also with us here. Do you have anything
Hello.
to say about your run?
I genuinely don't understand why the first two Snowdrams didn't work. Like the third one that failed was horrible. Like that was no surprise that one did not make it. But like the first two, like I just feel like my vault and like vectoring like just was not happening, even though I was doing the motion I do every time, the same way every time. But, like I don't know. Sometimes you get a weird vault and it acts differently, and I didn't react to it very well.
Yeah, we were kind of saying there's so many things that need to be timed correctly with that trick that just like if your timing is ever so slightly off on any of them, that can be very easy to miss. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
outside of that, I feel like you had a pretty decently clean run. Like the beginning of Robo Brood was a little rocky too, but outside of those two things, like I feel like you actually played pretty well. Just kind of unfortunately two big things.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with it. I was going to gold luncheon, but then I fell at the very end, which was also really unfortunate because I had a hat throw, otherwise I was going to end up short, but the hat throw actually put me over that little small ledge, so I'm not really sure what I was supposed to do to make it on there. I was just in the worst possible position. But that was good. My turnip clip was really, really nice. I was happy with that. Yeah, Mega Brutal was stupid. I'm having lots of trouble climbing up Mega Brutal lately. Like, I don't know why. I just could not get that wall jump to work.
Yeah, maybe something you should definitely put some time to practicing.
Yeah, definitely.
But is there anything else you guys want to say about your runs, or are we done here?
We're done, I think.
Yeah, just GG's, Orolme.
Yep, GG's.
Okay, and one more time before we end off this race here, I would like to shout out our sponsor, Vi.gg. Use !bet in the chat to find out more information about them and make sure you are of legal betting age in whatever country you are living in. Up next, we have a Mario Kart Double Dash Trial Towers Tournament Losers Finals. That is at 9 p.m. EST, so not for a while, but that's what's coming up next here on GSA.